So as long as the electoral system that we currently have remains the same, or regardless of this consultation that is currently going on by the National Assembly, is we're going to leave the wordings of the Reform Act to remain the same, where the president, who is also a participant in the election process, is the one that decides who the INEC chairman is, where it is not stipulated and clearly stated in an unambiguous way to say that electoral result must be transmitted live, electronically, there and then as the voters are voting, and shall be and must be transmitted. Then all the reforms we're talking about will not work. As long as there's electoral violence, especially those sponsored by our politicians, as long as there's no punishment for it or they're not enforced, then the same crooks, the same criminals who have been the ones sponsoring electoral violence and the rigging processes shall be the same people that will return to becoming our governors and presidents and lawmakers, local government chairmen and councillors. Those are going to be the same people. So if you've been following the news, you see there have been this consultation going on about this electoral reform as they work towards 2027. It is funny that since 1999, the best election process we've ever had, that it was clean, transparent, that brought about the results that we wanted at the time, is still 1999. We've had civilians been governing us, and they've been worse in rigging, in corruption, and they've had the judiciary to assist them in the rigging processes. So, but I want you to watch this. I want you to see the difference between the way they're currently conducting this consultation. But I also want you to join me after you finish watching this, because I want you to analyze this process with me. Because remember, for Nigeria to move forward, we need a system that works and that will leave us with a better process of choosing our leaders to make sure we choose right with the most populous nation in the world, African nation in the world, or Black nation in the world. So as such, where Nigeria goes, the rest of the world will go. So watch this. I'll catch you at the end of the video.
The Electoral Act Amendment Bill seeks not only to strengthen measures against electoral fraud, improve access for persons with disabilities, and establish clearer timelines for resolving disputes, but also to reduce the ambiguities that trailed previous elections. Our goal is to make elections less contentious, lower their cost through single-day voting, and make the process of party primaries more democratic and inclusive. Our other proposals include electronic transmission of results and the establishment of an Electoral Offences Commission to professionally investigate and prosecute electoral crimes, as well as a firmer deadline for the resolution of election disputes so that governance is not held hostage by endless litigation. As I have said in other fora, the overarching goal is to produce a new electoral act that stands the test of time. The National Assembly did not arrive at these proposals by itself alone. The proposals were aggregated from several submissions to the National Assembly Joint Committee on Electoral Matters by Nigerians and strategic stakeholders, including election monitoring groups, special interest groups, and civil society organizations. One of the clearest messages to emerge from these submissions is that Nigerians know exactly what is needed to have transparent and credible elections, and it is not what is currently available. Our democracy rests on the credibility of our elections, and unless these contests are freer, fairer, cheaper, and less contentious, we endanger the Fourth Republic. Therefore, these reforms respond to the national demand that the ballot box be sacred, that all votes count, and that disputes are resolved swiftly and fairly. The 2027 general election will be Nigeria's 8th since the 1999 election that ushered in a new democratic leadership in our country. The way to make meaningful progress is to continue to correct every observable shortcoming by strengthening the electoral system to ensure that our people vote freely and could see their votes count in the best interests of our great country. We must work to hand over to our children a country where an electoral system that they can be proud of exists. From the outset, the National Assembly has pledged that it will make every effort to ensure that the process is concluded in a timely manner for presidential assent, so that issues like technology-related reforms, which may require hardware and training, will be taken care of early enough, and funding can be made available in time to avoid technical and logistical hitches.
So what you've now seen so far is a clear indication of where Nigeria wants to go to, what we've been clamoring for. So you got to give kudos to the likes of, Shore, Dele Fautimi, Yaga Africa, but obviously one person army, Randy Peter for Africa or Nigeria. He's done amazing work in making sure we push for this electoral reform. But we must also make sure that not all the words that are said alone. In the writing of the act, certain things must be mandated. Number one has to be electronic transmission of results. It has to be said, it shall be transmitted there and then as the voters are voting, the result is counting live, and anyone around the world can see it. There shall be no electoral glitches because everything will be connected to what? A server in the cloud. So that means that you cannot tamper with it. That's number one. Number two, electoral corruption must be punished. Whether it was sponsored by the politician, the people that they pay to go carry out the act, the person that is carrying out the act, and the person they are paying to vote to get bribe, paying to vote in favor of political party. Everybody in that chain has to be punished. Every one of them has to be punished. We need to get right the fact that the president cannot be the one to choose who the next INEC chairman or commissioners will be. It shouldn't be in the hands of the president because he's also a participant in the process. So if the president is the one choosing the next INEC chairman, that next INEC chairman will be beholden to the president because the president nominated him, and the National Assembly, put the assent to it and said they accepted the person the president is nominating. And this current National Assembly that we have is a rubber stamp National Assembly that will accept anything as long as it brings them back. So this is some of the key areas that we need to put our focus, our attention on, that we must talk about, because this is something that we have been clamoring for a long time. Some of the problems we've had for years in terms of our electoral process, as number one is we've had a rampant election rigging and manipulation of results. People go to vote, they finish casting their vote, all of a sudden their votes are overturned. You can see election officers, rewriting the results after they've been counted already and putting fake signatures on them, and yet they are counted as true. 2023 was the most clearer and the most blatant of all of them, where INEC has been part of the election rigging process, where people vote, the results were taken to the police station, and then from there on, manipulation happens, and then upload those results as the actual, where we can see what they've done. So as a result of that, Nigerians lost faith in our election process. The other part is that lack of, INEC transparency and accountability. And I'll explain that with this context. In 2023, it is now very evident that Peter Obi won a lot of the elections that they say he lost in 2023. So Peter Obi goes to court and tells the court, I won this election. The process that they use in declaring Tinubu as the winner of the election is wrong. So Peter Obi sues APC and sues INEC. They go to court, and the court tells INEC, don't do anything. It tells APC, don't do anything. And now tells Peter Obi to go and bring proof that Peter Obi, for what Peter Obi is alleging, to say that the results were manipulated. But the judiciary tells INEC, your job is only to give Peter Obi the record that you have. And the judiciary and the INEC refuses to do so. But yet, the onus is now on Peter Obi to produce and to provide evidence that the election was rigged. Rather than saying to INEC, you conducted this election, you have to show proof that the election was not rigged, the election was not manipulated. This is one of the reasons how corrupt politicians always find themselves back in power. Because now the corrupt politicians rig the election, steal the election in cahoots with INEC and the judiciary. But the judiciary takes the evidence away and tells the person who is the litigant to go and produce proof for something conducted by INEC, where all the materials are in the offices of INEC. And you see how bad, how poor our election system is, and how the judiciary has become complicit. And every election tribunal that we go to is corrupt as well, because it's always the same. Every election tribunal we've ever gone to has the same writing on the table. The litigant has to be the one to bring the proof, rather than telling the person conducting the election, you conducted the election, you said these results were correct, show the proof that the result was correct. INEC never does that. Judiciary never asks for that. Therefore, the corrupt politicians always, oftentimes, and 99.9% of the time always wins. The other part is political violence and voter suppression. Take 2023 election as another example. In Lagos State, what did the Obas do? They brought out masquerade to stop people from voting. What did the area boys do? They worked in cahoots with the police, suppressed people from voting, put political violence where they hurt people and stopped Nigerians from voting, from electing the right people. This is part of what our problem really is and what we must work hard to make sure we stop. And obviously, I mentioned before the flawed appointment process of INEC officials. The president cannot be the one to decide who the next chairman will be. It should be a process that does not only include the president because he's part of a political party. It has to include other political parties involved in the process and taken out of the hands of the president, where the only thing the executive needs to do is to make sure that they are mandated to produce the finances required to carry out this task. And the stipulated time must be given before for the money to be released, a year at least ahead. A year at least ahead, to make sure they start planning the resources they need, the technology they need, they purchase them, they test them, and the training starts. So by the time they get to election, we're all ready. We've tested it, we've done test runs of it already. This is how elections are done in every advanced world. Why I'm bringing this to you is that we've come a long way. It's about time as Nigerians for us to make sure that we do not let this opportunity slip out of our hand, because our politicians have found ways to always undermine the process by inserting clauses and never mandate and necessitate, mandatory electronic transfer of transmission of results, and making sure the right people are accountable, and making sure that we make it clear in that electoral act that INEC will be the one to produce the proof that the election result was done or election result was collated correctly, and there was no manipulation and suppression of people's votes. So again, put your comments in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe if you've not done so. Click on the notification icon. I will catch you in the next video. God bless you. Bye-bye for now.